What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Next Level Teaching. I'm your host, Jeremy Anderson, here with my super dope co-hostess with the mostest, Miss Tori Rodriguez, T-Rod. What's up, girlie?
How are you, Jay?
Amazing.
Yeah.
We got a special guest in the house.
I know.
Miss Maria Sherrod.
I'm excited with all of her bright colors.
Yes.
Man, looking so good.
All the energy.
I am here for it.
Yes. How you feeling?
I'm feeling very well.
You ready to rock?
I am ready.
Glad we got you booked for the podcast.
I know. And I feel like you already know some of the gentlemen over here at sea. And there are some times where I'm like, I got a guest for you. and then they're like, no, I got one for you. And I'm like, okay, here we go.
Right.
And it's always someone good. So I'm excited.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
Oh,
no pressure though.
No pressure.
Right?
No.
No, right?
To the 100 countries we in.
Yeah.
Yeah. This live stream too, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
How many are watching live? 1,500?
Yeah, I think.
Playing.
Yeah.
You just keep going. Just keep on going.
Yeah, but no, we're excited to have you on.
I'm super
excited to be
excited.
Yeah. In case you didn't know, we like to laugh, learn, and we want to live their best life.
I'm living my best life.
That is me all the way.
There we go.
Good.
There we
I'm
go.
super excited. Yeah. So you are a high school counselor.
Elementary.
I don't know where I got high school
Elementary.
from. So we.
Hence the colors, you know.
Okay, that makes
Gotta
sense.
be very colorful.
Right,
Yep.
right, no doubt.
And you've been in education for 17 years. Is
I'll
that
be
what you're
going
saying?
into my 17th year.
Okay.
Yep.
Nice.
Wow.
How did you? Were you always school counselor?
I was. I have a undergraduate degree in elementary education.
Okay.
But I decided to get my master's. I had a internship with at a middle school when I was getting my undergrad degree, and my internship, I guess, supervisor was just like, don't stop here. Get your master's because once you get married, once you have kids, you know, you're going to have a lot of, you know, things to slow you down.
Yeah.
And so I got the master's in school counseling, and then I had to decide what I wanted to do. So I decided to do whatever was closest to what I just finished in my degree.
Yeah.
So I decided to become a school counselor. And was blessed to find a job pretty quickly.
So you initially weren't necessarily going to go into education. You just knew you wanted to do something in that counseling space.
No, I always wanted to be a teacher.
Okay.
So I
Choose
had
the other way. Yeah.
Yep. So I had an undergrad in elementary ed.
Okay. There we go.
And so, have you enjoyed your time as a counselor, or have you had moments where you're like, maybe I should go into the classroom?
I've enjoyed every minute of it. Now, sometimes when I come in contact with a teacher who feels like I don't have any background in education, so I can't really give, you know, tidbits, then that's when I'm like, well, maybe I need to show and prove by going into the classroom for a couple of years. And I have, you know, good friends at my who's in my schools like, Maria, you're doing a great job.
Yeah.
Stay where you are.
Right.
You know, don't change because of, you know, other people.
Yeah.
Yeah. I've had somebody, actually was very, very sweet, very pleasant lady. Our presentation, she was just like, young man, you are so powerful, blah, 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 blah.
But there
But
it
you
is.
knew that
the
was
big
coming,
old
right? The
butt.
big old
I
butt.
like big.
But I can't not lie. You know what I'm saying? She hit me with the but. You have never been a teacher.
So.
I said, now you just told me how you just got done crying, how you just got all this insight and how powerful my presentation was. But she was like, because they will receive you more. And I was just like, I receive it. She was like, maybe you should just do substitution for a year or two. And I said, I receive it. I'll pray on it. If I feel like that's what God called me to do.
Yeah.
I said, you know, clearly I didn't obviously feel that was the path he was telling me to take.
Yeah.
But she was like, so that they'll receive you. And I'm like, yo, that's their fault. If they got ears, if they want to close their eyes, I'm just going to still do what I got to do.
Yeah.
Well,
but I think it's interesting that they said, hey, you was thinking like maybe I should, and they was like, no, you stay right here where you are.
Yeah, yeah. And that was my struggle the first couple of years when I came into my first school, the first year, and they would ask me, where were you before this? And I'm like, okay, that's coded language.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, for sure. They asked me, so where did you teach at? I'm like, oh, okay.
But honestly, you don't have to be a teacher to complete. There are some things where like you may not understand everything. Goodness knows I do not understand everything that you go through. Right?
Right.
But the insight.
Yeah.
Right? Like you spend enough time in schools, you know, around teachers, it's not like you're completely removed. You know what I mean? There are people that are making decisions for teachers that are far more removed from the classroom than the two of you are, for sure.
Yep.
And I think that right there, it just says enough. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like,
Right. Yeah.
I think because I have a thirst for knowledge, period.
Yes.
You know, and in my school, the teachers know Maria's going to come in and out of the classroom.
Yes.
And it might not be that I need something, but I just want to know what's going on.
Yes.
You know, so when we came out with this new math, I told all my math teachers, I was like, do you mind if I just drop in? I just want to know. So when a parent calls me and says, Miss Wright, I don't understand this new math. Y'all doing all these different ways. We didn't do this. We carrying the one. Y'all doing something different. So I want to be able to explain.
The one no more?
Well, they're
Sir,
doing
you got
different
a child
strategies.
in elementary school. How you not know this?
That's Tracy. That's Tracy. That's not even Tracy calling either. Honestly, that ain't even hers.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Common Core. We looking at Matt. We talking about grouping a little bit different.
Okay.
It's
I bring in the best and the brightest to formulate that for our company. I know that's not my strength, my weakness. When Ryan came into my life, everything changed. Ryan enlightened me to PBIS and SEL. He's been guiding me
Amen.
along
Thank
the
you,
way.
Ryan.
Yeah.
And now we got this massive K through 12
Curriculum.
SEL curriculum. You get this magazine right here?
I do.
Can we talk real
Actually,
quick?
I was published in there.
For real?
Yes, I
Turn a
was.
couple pages and tell me what you see up in there, girl.
I
I'm just
believe
trying
it's
to figure,
page 3.
I'm just
Oh,
trying
let
to
me
figure
see.
something out real quick. I don't know. It may be a certain.
Oh, my goodness.
what?
This guy looks familiar. Oh,
Yeah.
oh, is that you?
Let me
A
see.
whole
Stop
page.
playing.
Oh, my goodness.
Come
Let me
on.
just a whole page ad.
Right.
Look at Vanna White over here.
You feel me? But I
it.
share that because when I look at what we're doing with our curriculum and everything else we built out, it wouldn't have been that if it wasn't
Yes.
for Ryan. You know what I'm saying? Giving me that game, sharing me that insight. And I pride myself on that. But I will admit, I didn't know we weren't carrying the one no more. You know what I'm saying?
But I think that
That's
the
good.
point that you just made, though, is that every year we always take the survey, the Gallup survey, and it's always asking as stakeholders because we know it takes a village.
It does.
And it's not just the classroom teacher, because goodness knows we cannot do it all on our own, right? And so I know that when you were writing the curriculum, Jeremy, and you guys were creating this, you had lots of different people that came in, because we've talked about it so many times how collaboration is so important. And goodness knows that as teachers, we would not survive without our counselors.
I think we
Thank
had
you.
11. Oh, for sure.
Truly.
I think it's maybe 10 or 11 different writers and contributors.
Yes.
Some are teachers, some are counselors, some are principals. Half of them got their doctrine.
Yeah.
Like we really put together like a super team
Yeah.
that took the framework, my initial writings, and we built out the K through 12 thing.
Yeah.
And it's just blown up. We partnered with PBIS Rewards.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? They
spoke at the
sponsoring
conference
our
this summer.
podcast. I spoke for their conference.
Oh, wow.
The National, Association of School Counselor Association, they had their annual conference in Vegas. So Ryan and Leslie and Sherry were there. We had a big booth, with promoting our
wow.
curriculum. But I would have never got there if it wasn't for that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
He over there crying.
game.
Look at you
But-
blushing.
Now ask for a sweatshirt.
You feel me? Look, I got you. Ryan know he can have whatever he wants.
No, he a little hurt that he didn't get the Teach Hustle Inspired
For real.
sweatshirt that we
Yeah.
I'm
got.
calling Doc.
I'm telling
Woodley,
you.
stop
Deliver
playing.
it.
It's
Stop
my favorite,
playing.
not gonna lie.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
looking
but
out
for
for you,
real,
bro.
he'll pull up anytime. But we need each other.
Yes.
It's things I knew but he didn't know. It's things
Yes.
he knew
Yes.
that I didn't know.
Yeah.
And it took me a while to understand what he was trying to teach me.
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, slow it down for me, bro. You super smart. You know what I'm saying? Science teacher. Like, but we work together. So for you, being a counselor, working with these teachers, do you ever feel like it's like the movie 300? Like, we got all these people. Like, we're my backup. Like, do you ever feel like, man, where's more help? Like,
Yeah, I do, especially in the elementary school because, well, depending on the population. In my school, I'm the only one. Now, there are
Wow.
other elementary schools where there are more, but based on our numbers and our county's, budget, there's only one of me in the building. So, And then you have
Jeremy
to
ain't happy about that one.
Yeah.
then you have to, think about the confidentiality aspect and really, who can I really go to bounce out ideas about how to help this student or this family.
Right.
So, usually it's me talking to my principal because, she needs to know what's going on in the building,
Right.
or maybe calling another counselor from a population similar to mine
Right.
about what I should do about this situation. Because, we don't know everything. And
Right.
sometimes there's a gray area there where
Yes.
I'm really trying to support the student, but I want to do it in the right way where they feel, they and the family feel helped and they don't feel
Yeah.
like we're being intrusive.
Right.
Yes.
So tell me about the article that you wrote when you were published.
Well, actually,
What was it?
When I went to grad school for my specialist degree in school counseling, I went to University of Georgia, and they really
Go Dogs.
promoted. They really promoted research.
Okay. Yeah.
And so our school was developing elements of PBIS, and so as a counselor, I wanted to know. Where could I fit in terms of PBIS? So I started working with groups who had a certain amount of referrals, and then I did a study on whether those groups and those lessons that I taught in the classroom really helped to reduce their number of referrals from one year to the next.
Wow. Wow, that's heavy.
Yeah.
And they're asking us constantly for the data.
Yeah.
For
all the time.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's one of the first things. They're like, we love Jeremy, we love the videos, the kids connect with it. Do you got some data? We
Yeah.
ready to write a check? Do you got some data? We got you. You know what I'm saying? So I could totally see that. So that's one of my passions. Let me ask Tori. Let's see if Tori on her A game. She always on her A game, right? So Tori, if I could change one thing about
Oh, I know this answer. I got to ask the question. So Jeremy would like,
Yeah.
so if the Bidens came up to him and were like, hey, Jay, we going to let you fix one thing with the education system, he would want a social worker or a counselor in every single classroom.
Wow.
Yeah. What you think about that?
Let's be honest, as teachers, I didn't go to school for what you went to school for.
But they leaning heavy on you for that heart stuff.
Yep.
And that mind stuff is way beyond math.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh. I think that would be a blessing.
Yeah. And probably a game changer.
I can't
It would
imagine
be.
just being one of you in a school.
No, and I feel like I put a lot of pressure on myself because when a student, like say for instance, in one situation, my AP really got close to the student, and I know that there were things going on, and I was talking to her too, but she just connected with the AP, and I felt like, oh my goodness, I didn't do my part as a counselor because her connection is not with me.
Nope.
It's with the AP, but I had to realize that we are a village, and it might have been something with the AP that she connected with, but I was still supporting her. I was still seeing her and, talking with her, but the AP was just someone that she connected to on another level. So I feel like, because in our school, we used to do a program called School Friends, where we would connect one teacher that was not their teacher of record with another, with a student.
Yeah.
And then that way they felt like they had a person to talk to. And I feel like without that program, because now teachers don't have the time to do that because they got so much other stuff to do.
Right.
I feel like I'm the only person who is really doing that for 400 plus kids.
Yeah.
So.
And that therein lies a lot of the problem. 400 different kids.
Yeah.
How did you navigate the season of the pandemic?
Oh.
She said, oh.
Right. She's like, we going there, yeah. Even though we on the other side, and to our listeners and viewers, I know y'all probably tired of it. I just think it's a lot.
But we still have effects from it.
Yeah,
we
do.
still, in this new school year, this post-pandemic school year, we still are seeing the effects from it, whether it is academic or social, emotional. We're still seeing it.
Yeah. Well, it was very hard to really, because everybody was plugged into, how are we going to get the academics? And so, I was thinking, well, how am I going to get them with, this SEL?
Yep.
And so I had to think creatively about how do I plug in, how do I get the kids? And that was before we really didn't have a whole lot of training on using Zoom or having, concurrent teaching, asynchronous. It was almost like this fast and furious training. And
We
then
were
we're out there.
flying the plane as we were building it.
Exactly.
Right.
And so, I'm not just going to be sitting at home. This is just me and not contributing. That I just can't do that. I can't get a check and just not do nothing. I can't do that. So I was thinking, okay, how could I plug into
Look
this?
at you with your morals and ethics and all that jazz.
You would have did it to Tori like, man, you want to get me down? I ain't tripping.
I mean, like, I did my stuff. Like, it's not that, but like, all right, ma'am, look at you. Because I know that there are other people out there that did just sit there and take a check.
Right.
Just
And they be
saying.
like, this is a blessing from the Lord. You know what I'm saying?
Just saying.
Right.
So what I did was I talked to the teachers about, what is a time, because our county had times where they were teaching, and I didn't want to disrupt that time. But what times do you have available that students are not logged into the EIP teacher, the special ed teacher, the regular ed teacher, all these teachers, and they have all these little small groups going. And so they was like, well, really, it's only 11 to 12, 11 to 1 when we have to break them for lunch. And so I said, you know what? I'm doing a lunch bunch, so.
A lunch bunch?
Lunch bunch.
Okay.
So I would have an open Zoom for in every grade level, and I had one for every grade level. And so I had, maybe Tuesday was third grade, Wednesday was this, whatever. And so I would open it up, and we would do different activities where we would do a virtual roller coaster ride to kind of bring them in. And I was like, have y'all ever rode this ride at Disney World? Let's ride it virtually. And so we're riding this ride, and then I'll go into, okay, guys, so tell me, what are you doing at home, or what do you wish would be different? And then I was finding out, one of the students was like, I just want to be at home. I was like, well, aren't you? I'm like, I'm seeing your background. Aren't you at home? I was like, no, I'm at my grandma's house in Arkansas.
Yep.
And then she was just looking so sad. And so that's when I would get information from them by, them talking. And then I would try to connect with them afterwards to say, okay, what's going on? Do you get to talk to mommy and daddy? That kind of thing. And then I would also have teachers refer kids to me, and I would call sometimes to kind of see how they were doing, if parents need support. And I even had parents to call me like, I just can't do this, Mr. Rod. What do I need to do about this and that? Because they're not doing this work. So it was a lot. So I did the lunch bunch to kind of connect with the students. And, all of them did not join, of course, but, I had a good amount who came regularly,
Right.
And I just figured those are the ones who really needed to, talk and have an open forum where it was non-academic. It was more about how are you doing?
Yeah.
That's rich.
I'll say I did, not every day, but I tried to do it at least once a week. And I will say it's because I got pushback about it.
She's still salty.
I am, because I'm trying to sit here and do social emotional learning in the midst of a pandemic, and you're sitting here telling me, well, don't spend too much time on social and emotional learning. Make sure you're getting to the content. Okay. I digress.
Yeah.
But I had my students, I would have like a warm up at the beginning of the day, and it would just be like a smiley face or a frowny face, and you could slide the bar across, kind of like how you have the polls on Instagram type thing. And it was one of those, and they would say like, where are they at? And there were a couple of other ones, and then they could tell me why. And quite often I would just screenshot it and just email it to my counselor. Hey, there's a few in here that you might want to take a peek at whenever you have time, because I know that you've got a lot going on. But there are a few in here that were maybe a little concerning to me, and I talked to them and reached out a little bit. But as teachers, we're always told to not ask too many questions.
That's true.
Because we are mandated reporters, and so we're told to leave it to you guys, honestly. And so I always would just take a nice little screenshot and just send it to my counselor. But I also found myself in my counselor's office quite often this past year. Did you find that a common thing that happened for you as well, where you had your teachers in your office?
Yeah. And I did. And the great thing is I have a great principal. And the principal was tuned in to what was going on with our teachers. And she was like, Maria, what can we do to not have so many faculty meetings where we're talking more about meeting to meet these kids, And so we did, we got together and we did something creative during the faculty meeting. So the first one, our principal planned a paint party.
Oh, fun.
And then the second faculty meeting, we was close to Christmas. We did a wreath making session, and so we really talked about really having the teachers have the opportunity to let loose and and not be so focused on what's going on in the world, but really to connect with each other and have fun. And so I think because of the leadership of my principal and her being able to think outside the box and really think about the mental health of the teachers, then they kind of felt like, okay, I'm being heard. I can,
Yes, it's a trickle-down effect.
It is.
And if we don't have, if we're an empty vessel, how can we pour?
Right.
Well, you
Exactly.
can't pour from an empty vessel. And so I love that your principal also came to you and asked and said, what can we do? Because I think sometimes there is a disconnect. And there's, we have to ask questions. We have to ask, what do you need? What do you want? To our staff just as much as we do our kids.
But they also have to be willing to say something, because when your
I'll
principal
say something.
when your principal asks you, what do you need? Oh no, everything is fine, Miss So and So. Everything is fine. Almost like you don't, they don't want to, ruffle any feathers or make it seem like they're complaining. But if a principal does come to you and say that means they see something.
Yes.
Or someone has said something that makes them think, okay, everything is not well in my school.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. So tell me something. In all the years that you have been a school counselor, 17 years, right? I have here to ask you, because I don't want to forget. I'll mess around and forget these questions.
Okay.
And I got some really good ones for part 2.
Oh, gosh.
What piece of advice would you tell teachers that they need to know about you and your role?
First thing is that, trust and confidentiality is my big thing with any counselor, therapist, whatever, and so I have some, and it's an interesting role being a counselor, because you're seen as an administrator, but you're also seen as the heart of the school, and you hold a lot of information about students. Some teachers come to you with their own personal, stuff. And so I always let them know, and I don't say this by words, but with my actions, that, you can trust me, and I am going to hold what you say to me in confidence, unless you plan to hurt yourself, you plan to hurt someone else, or someone is hurting you.
Yes.
Same thing I tell the kids.
Yes. Same thing.
So when they come to me, I know I have a friend who'll say, do you know anything about this going on? And I'm like, you just not gonna tell. But I'm not gonna tell, because you know me, and you know that I'm not gonna share. Just like if you come to me about certain things, I'm not gonna share your business.
Yeah.
But if I do start running my mouth, then what are you gonna say?
Right.
And when I go to teachers and teachers are saying, oh, this student, that, and, I'm like, well, you got to think about what all is going on, with them. And sometimes it's hard to not defend the student and say, well, this, and that, because a parent may have shared something in confidence with you about what's going on with their family.
Yeah.
So I kind of feel like I told the line with that. But the teachers that I've worked with who've worked with me for a long time know Maria might know something, but she's not going to tell it, because I want to make sure that they know that I will be confidential with the student stuff as well as theirs.
Yeah.
Right. That's good.
Yeah.
I find that very... I'm going to save it for part 2. I'm gonna leave y'all a little cliffhanger, because we gotta go a little deeper with that.
Yeah.
Because your role is so critical. I do think that schools and teachers realize it, but I don't understand. I don't know if they realize in full totality of what you do and how vital and how important it is. Which is why, beyond the pay, beyond all those other things, I feel like there should be a counselor or a social worker, therapist, all of the above, in every single classroom, because what these kids are dealing with internally, when I go to a school and speak, if I go to school and speak to 1,500 kids, I'm telling you right now, I'm going to get anywhere from 2 to 5% of them send me DMs. So 15%, 1,500 kids, that's anywhere about 30 kids is going to be sending me DMs.
Look at you doing math.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying.
I'm so proud of you.
Half of them might be saying, man, that was so amazing, blah, blah, blah. The other half is sharing me their heart story and what they got going on.
And
that's
so
a
many
small
people
percentage.
come to me and say, what do you do as an elementary counselor? You would
What
not
you
believe
leading?
it.
Right.
What do you
Right.
do?
What do I not
would
do?
not believe.
Right. And y'all,
That
y'all
would
want to
make
know
me
what
so
she
mad.
do? If y'all want to know what she do, y'all tune in on part 2.
Yeah.
We'll see y'all in a minute.
Bye, guys.
Peace.